Hello, everyone. My name's Travis Straw, and this is Frantic Purpose, the podcast where I generally talk about life skills, mental wellness, mental health, uh, and just my experience, and hopefully in an effort to try and share my experience with you, so maybe you can not make the same mistakes or learn from what I've learned in my life. Not to say I'm some grand wizard of life. I've screwed up and failed plenty. And I think that's why I've grown and I've always sought to grow, but that's neither here nor there. I'm recording this on a Sunday to be released this Friday. I'll be in Las Vegas. And I had time. It's a beautiful day, and I was thinking about goals and how you negotiate goals with yourself and how to generally try to be successful with goals. I think in January it's appropriate because we've all probably made plans to change our lives. And by this time, who knows, a good percentage of us have failed. How you negotiate goals with yourself is very important, like the language of it. And one of my big bugaboos, and something I learned along the way myself, is when you use the word try. Um, in the realm of food, like I'll try salmon for the first time or try that. That's appropriate, try new experiences. I'm going to try, mini golf for the first time. Cool. But this is like in the realm of you want to change a lifestyle. You want to change a core property that you've identified as negative. Like for me, I used to smoke cigarettes before I was 30. I quit when I was 30. And my whole life, I didn't say I'm going to try to quit when I'm 30. I told myself I am going to quit when I'm 30. And that's like the operative change. If you're one of the people, and I'm sure there's a lot, I was one of them at one point in time, that say, like this year, I said, I'm going to not drink during January. Dry January, it's become very popular and cool. I think it's a healthy thing to challenge your relationship with alcohol, to refresh. The holiday season is usually full of booze and debauchery. But other than that, I think it's good. I think it's good to challenge norms in general. And for me, I've always audited my life on and off. Last year, I took a whole month and a half off of drinking for no reason. It was in the middle of the year. And I do that for myself, mostly to say to myself, hey, guess what? You're not an alcoholic. Hey, how about that? That's cool. No physical withdrawals, no need to drink. Of course, the first couple of days, the first weekend, really is tough. Like, cause I enjoy a drink. I enjoy a few drinks responsibly, of course. But I was in the military. My grandparents, both of my grandpas who have passed, uh, they both were alcoholics up until one point or another. And growing up, my parents told me, and I have Irish blood, so it is what it is. I fully acknowledge that, and I'm like, okay, so to some capacity, I have a danger of becoming or having an addictive personality, which can wholly take over your life and then make it seem like you're doing choices on your own accord when it's your addiction taking control of your life. So that's why I audit myself. And I'm a maniac, though. Most of what I do is a little um, probably deemed as too much, but for me, it's just the right amount. So if you have struggles making goals and keeping to them, for me, there's two things really that are really, really important. First is you pitch it to yourself, not that you're going to try, but you will. So anyone who's like, yeah, I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to cook more next year. I'm going to try to work out more next year. It is slang for probably not. Probably not going to do it. You're making room for failure. You're saving space for failure. And you may be like, Travis, that's absurd. It's really not. Because instead, imagine I'm going to work out next year more. And you set up a goal. And then the second component, the key component, is I'm going to, and then publicizing that goal to a community, whoever that is. It could just be your spouse, your immediate family, your in-laws, your whole whoever, your friend group. It doesn't matter. You say, I'm going to do it, and then you plan for it, and then you have people check in with you, and you check in with them about their goals. And it's kind of like, it doesn't allow it to be in the darkness of, and that's where I always say, and Amanda probably is, she knows these are all very common things we've talked about in our relationship. Like, I'll say fear, or not fear, but trying is failure. And that means to me, like, trying to fix a table, you're just going to fix the table. Just take out the try. Either you will or you won't. And in my life, anyone who said they're going to try to do something, they don't. They just don't. It's slang for, I'm probably not going to do it. And there's this great scene in The Dark Knight Rises, which is a Batman movie by Christopher Nolan. I'm sure you know this movie, where Batman has fully recuperated from having his back broken by Bane. And Bane is the villain of the movie, if you haven't seen it. And he ends up in this incredible pit, a literal giant hole in the ground, which is like this prison, this ancient prison. And the prison features a way out, and that is to scale these very treacherous cliff components of around the pit. So you would essentially risk your life for freedom. And what I see as kind of the try, I'm going to try to get out of this pit, they attach a safety line. And by attaching a safety line, you kind of commit mentally in your unconscious mind that it's okay to fail. You make space for failure. So you see throughout this scene, people failing, falling. And even Bruce Wayne, as he's like recovered wholly, and they done all the physical, therapy in the pit. And then he's like, I'm going to get out of here. I need to save the world, or whatever, save Gotham. And he attached the umbilical cord, that safety mechanism, and having that safety mechanism made him not try his best to get that last part of the cliff climb. And it wasn't until Bruce Wayne takes off the tether and says, if I fail, then I die. And that's commitment. Right? You fully committed to the act. And you can apply this to anything in your life. Instead of having that tether say, and nothing, the great thing is about life, there is not something that severe usually in life. Like, you're not faced with life or death on a regular basis for most people. So when you have goals, it's like, I'm going to not drink this month. Or I'm going to go, like, these very luxury goals, like I'm going to make sure to paint more this year, or I'm going to pick up a new hobby. Like, when you put the try feature in there, you are committing to failure. In my opinion, you may be like, well, no, I do it all the time and I'm really successful. Sure. Show me the receipts. I would love to have a conversation about it. But I know in my life, all of the people who have like crushed it are people who don't suffer that phrase. They're like, and hey, Yoda, the OG, do or do not. There is no try. And I absolutely agree. So Bruce Wayne, of course, made that final jump because he knew life or death. He didn't think, I have a tether. If I miss, it's okay. If I fail, it's okay. If I fail, I die. So he makes it. And it's that level of commitment. Just, if I fail, and then that goes into the next portion, that I call it failing forward. When you fail forward, you have committed to doing something and you fail. So it could be anything, any goal. And when you give it your all, you're like, I'm going to, let's see, what's another goal? My diet. I'm going to not eat carbs this month. Right? Especially bread. I am going to not eat carbs. And if I fail in that, that's my fault. That's okay. That's on me. I committed. I've made it known. I've told my family, and I have not yet failed that component of my goal, because even if I do fail, I had it all in there. I wanted to do it. I failed, and failure is inevitable. That's another thing that's key. You will fail, and that's totally okay. Failure to so many people is this deep, dark, shameful experience where if you fail, then it's all over. And there's a breakdown of character, which is absurd. Every great person on the planet has failed. Nobody has like high score, life run, never failing once, etc. Like in some ways, failure is, it's just, I don't know. Am I making any sense at all? you know, I I'm so passionate about this. I think in this world we live in, everybody has been giving themselves room to just exist. This room of like exactly who you are is the perfect version of you. And I absolutely don't agree. I'm on the other end of the spectrum. If I ever, like growing up, young Travis, early 20s, was growing up in this type of dogma from society in America, they'd be telling me that my mental illness, because I have it, I have legit, I am diagnosed, and I get a component of I'm a disabled veteran as well, and a part of my pay from the government, because I was assessed by a private contractor, a fully, legit psychologist who's like one of their jobs is to assess military people getting out of the military and to see if if there's any brokenness that the military may have caused. And they found that yes, for me, there's a significant amount. And that was aggravated by the military for sure, but before it also existed to some arena. It was definitely made worse by the military and what I experienced. But it'd be telling that, Travis, there's no reason to change. You are who you are. And I'd be like, and internally, the reason I made changes in my life was because I started to think like, maybe I'm different than most people. Maybe this isn't correct. And luckily, like, I honestly didn't outsource that a lot. I somehow internally decided that I was correct, that there was something flawed about me. And it didn't necessarily mean that I was, it didn't mean was worthless. It didn't mean that I was not, like, I was overall absolutely just a piece of crap. It just meant that I needed to make changes in order to be more healthy and to live on this planet with more ownership of who I am, which is a big part of my life, is ownership of my time, energy, who I spend time with, what I spend time doing. And I think today, I think people will say, I'm going to try to do things, and it makes them think like they're going to actually do it, and that's enough for them. So then they don't do it, and they're like, but I tried though. And that fulfills some spot of their soul, like some satisfaction to say, like, I tried not to drink, even though maybe they didn't. That piece is up to you. And how honest you are with your successes and failures is so important. If you're like, I'm going to try not to eat fast food this year, and at the end of the year you ate more fast food than ever, but you're still like, well, I tried, and you're really soft on yourself in that way, life's going to be hard. You may wonder why things aren't super happy for you. And I think it might be because you're ignoring things that I think need tending to. One thing I also say in my relationship is that in the darkness, those components that aren't healthy for us grow. Secrets that you keep grow and become worse. Secret addictions, secret compulsions, secret eating, secret, all this stuff. And I've done it too. Like last year, 100%, I was having a lot of stress. And instead of drinking too much, for the first time ever in a while, I feel like I leaned on food too much. It'd be really late. I got a little buzz on. I'd DoorDash an absurd amount of food, and I'd take that food to the face, and it was glorious. And then I'd wake up, and I felt like the biggest poop ever. I just felt like such a failure. I had so much shame. And I totally 100% am responsible for that. I don't want that to be a component of my life. I'm not allowed to DoorDash anything anymore. And that's not something anyone even told me. Like I told myself, no more, because you're not responsible, Travis. Because in the darkness of the night, the literal darkness of the night, you sneak this, like Amanda will go to bed because she wakes up early in the morning, and I'm like, what can I get in? Maybe I'll have a cheeky Philly cheesesteak and then double dash, maybe something else, maybe some candy and some yum yums. And I'm like, wow, what a terrible thing to let grow, And no matter how much I understood why, it was definitely like a coping mechanism to make me feel some sort of control of my crazy year last year and all of that. But there's no excuse, right? It doesn't matter if I can like afford it, or there's time, or I work out, or I usually diet. It's an absolutely terrible thing for me to get into, no matter how great it felt. And that's just it. Each of us has that crap. You can't, like, everybody on this planet has some version of this sneaky, like your sneaky Travis, DoorDash run late at night to just snarf down a bunch of delicious, terrible food. Everybody has a version of that. And that's okay. Like, none of us are perfect. None of us are. And anyone who insists more that they don't have anything wrong with them, they probably have. My guess is you have a lot. And you need to like spend some time just with yourself, being honest with yourself. But hey, you can feel free to write me off. This is just something I've come to learn. So in my goals, I don't give myself anywhere to hide. And that's the goal, really. Like the ultimate goal is don't let there be any dark corners for you to hide. Tell your friends about your goal. Don't say try. Do it. Do it and fail. That's okay. Fail forward. Awesome. Try again when you fail too. Oh, I used the operating word. But do it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And that's it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'd rather be on the side of encouraging people. It's in the lexicon. The language of excusing bad behavior is all up in American society. I feel like we bend over backwards and we can't escape this lifestyle of everything. It's all good, when I don't think humans are responsible with that. I think we need governing reins. I think we need rules and regulations. Obviously we do. On our own, we created a government. Like before that, if we were truly like anarchistic as a species, we wouldn't keep making levels of government, even when it's like anarchy, it's still like a government style, like there should be no rules, and that's the rule. It's like, okay, I don't know. Sure, whatever makes you happy, whatever. I don't know. I think that we need that. And I think there are 100% truths and there are 100% things that are good and bad. I think, but when it comes down to the singular, you listening right now, whoever you are, what matters is that you're honest in your spirit with you. Are you, only you could know. And never would I ever like meet someone and give them crap. If someone asked me for opinion, like my personal opinion, like to consult on their life, of course I'd give them an honest summation of what I feel they are doing incorrectly, which I've been asked a lot in my life. I don't know why. I think I just have like a kind spirit or whatever. But a lot of people have asked me and let me into the very personal like halls of their life and their thoughts and who they are and what they want to be. And I think it's because I kind of I live my life this way, and I live it honestly and openly. So people see me doing this and they see it's not for anything other than like there's no gain other than it's just a personal battle that I choose to fight. And so it's up to you. Of course, and I'll always say I'm no expert. I do know that addiction destroys lives. I do know addiction feels like your own choice when you're in it. Like my version of that is depression. When I was in the deepest pit of my depression, the bad choices felt like my choices. I didn't think to question if I was betraying myself, because that's so weird to think. Like, why would my body betray myself? Why would it want me to continue down a path that would be unhealthy for me? And the answer is that I was not healthy. And my thoughts weren't on my side. They were on its own path to fulfill my internal monologue at that time, which was, I am valueless. Therefore, there's no space for me on this planet, and nobody wants you here. And you're just a support entity. And all anyone ever wants from you is what you can do for them, and they don't truly care about you at all. And all this other dark language that I hung on to, I made it a part of my character. And it was wild. But I could tell you now, at 37 years old, I quit smoking. I am way healthier. And those voices, they like not literal voices, of course, but those thoughts I still have them. Every day is a battle, you know. Unfortunately, with like depression and anxiety and whatever the suite of things I was diagnosed with, there's no escaping that. And it's not depressing to say. I'm not depressed saying that to you. It's a component of my life that I feel like I've spent time to master. I have like security mechanisms. I have a great like religious system that has always been there, that only and recently has become more prevalent in my life. I lean on it plenty, and feel free to judge me for that. But that won't matter. Your judgment makes no impact on the reality of my life. It's true. Without that component, I would probably be dead. And that's okay too. I want to be far, far, far away from that darkness I know that I can be in. And when those thoughts come in, they're so much weaker now. Because I don't feed those. They're starved. They are weak whispers of, you don't have any value. And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have any value. Look at my life. Look at the love that I'm surrounded by. Look at how I can affect people positively. That's where is it? Where am I not? Where am I valueless? And then they're like, never mind. So I'm happy to be where I'm at, and all of this comes from just a spot where maybe you could get there too, in your own way, in your own right, whatever you're going through. Commit to goals to challenge your life and your norms to grow in a healthy way and publicize your goals to your community. And then when you fail, publicize that too. Man, I failed. I had so much bread last night. Or I just was in the mood for a drink, so I had one and I failed. But I'm going to do it. I'm getting back on the horse. Or it's perfectly your right not to. That your life is your own, of course. But to me, if you want peace and happiness, it usually comes from a good old audit of yourself and be like, am I doing what I want to do? Like, am I constantly complaining about a few components of my life that I never move to fix? Am I that person? Am I complaining about gaining weight while I continue to gain weight? Do I keep saying, man, I should really go to the gym and diet. I should really try to do that. And you just don't, and you keep gaining weight. Do you say, I really need to find a different job? I hate this job. It sucks my soul out of my eyeballs. I need to try to find a different job. But do you? Have you done it? What, if anything, do you have in that area? What are there any? If you do, then I'd encourage you to be, those are them. If you're sitting here being like, I wonder what I should work on. It's probably just ask someone you're married to or dating or your family. They'll tell you, because usually you end up saying it like, I need to do this, I need to do that. Man, this is really bad. And they're all like personal responsibility stuff that you could absolutely fix. Your nucleus will know. But if your nucleus isn't an honest crew of people, then they may just enable you and be like, no, it's fine. It's no big deal. You'll get there. And then that's pretty bad too. It sucks when you're in. That's when you found out then you're kind of like in a little toxic group of people, which is also something I've been in before. In Colorado Springs specifically, the military specifically, the age-old tradition of becoming hammered. You stop thinking that when you're surrounded by people who are doing something that is equally bad for everyone, but no one questions it, then it's very, very, very hard to figure out, oh my God. And then that nucleus tries to keep you there. Like if you are in a group of drinkers, as I am currently. So at my job, there's a drinking culture for sure. And for me, part of my struggle has been finding out the middle ground of existing in this group, and my boss is ex-military. I'm ex-military, and ex-military people can handle their booze. And it doesn't mean you should, go jump into a vat of whiskey, but it definitely bodes a drinking culture that I don't know if I want to support as much anymore, or at least question that more. That's what I'm doing. And so far, so good. This week, yeah, to check back next week when I get back from Vegas, which we'll see how that goes. I may fail, but I don't want to. Honestly, the sober thing is a lot of fun, and I've been really productive. Anyways, that's all I had to say. I hope you have a great day. Have a great weekend. This is coming out Friday. Hopefully this makes sense to you. I don't know. Maybe you're really mad at me, in which case I'd say that is a surefire sign that you have stuff to change. So thank you. My name is Travis Straw. This is Frantic Purpose. Have a wonderful weekend.